Spider-Man Brand New Day is here, and now nobody is talking about the Odyssey. It's because this new Tom Holland film is really, really good. But how good is it? It's time for an honest review. We'll tell you, it just might be the greatest superhero film, no, seriously, of all time. Well, folks, Spider-Man Brand New Day is here, and it's a movie. It's a movie, and we've got all our friends gathered together right now for a spoiler-free review of the movie. And I've been waiting for a film like this for a long time. I'm going to pause it right here for you. People will say to me, Pro, you don't score films correctly. And the reason they say that is because Project Hail Mary comes out, and I gave it an 8.5, and they say, Pro, come on, man. It's at least a 9. And then Michael comes out, and they say, Pro, come on. You gave it an 8. What are you doing, man? This is the kind of movie, this is the reason I don't give those films those kinds of scores, and this is the kind of film that is going to embarrass everybody who said The Odyssey is a 10. Not subjectively, objectively. This film blows The Odyssey out of the water, pun intended. You cannot see this film and then hold on to the opinion that The Odyssey was a 10. You can't do that unless we're grading on a scale of to 100. Spider-Man Brand New Day, folks. If we just want to get into how good this is, and again, spoiler free. Spider-Man Brand New Day just might have saved the entire superhero genre. I went into this film thinking that I was going to see a Spider-Man film. This is like Godzilla -1. This is a Spider-Man film. There's no doubt about it. But this is way more than a Spider-Man film. This is a movie that had people in my theater weeping. I was not prepared for that. I had no anticipation of that. I thought I was going to see Spider-Man, and I thought there's no way they will ever top No Way Home with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. I thought there's no way. You can't top it. It's better. I'll go a step beyond. Spider-Man Brand New Day just might be the greatest superhero film ever made. However much money this movie makes, it should make more. I hope this movie makes $2.5 billion. I hope it blows out Endgame. I hope The Odyssey is forgotten, because The Odyssey sucks in comparison to this movie. The Odyssey is a pile of garbage in comparison to this movie. And there are things in this movie, and I can't wait to get the panel's thoughts on this. There are things in this movie that I cannot believe are in a Marvel superhero film. Tom Holland, it is said, had some degree of creative control over this. It is said that Tom Holland would only do this if it was the right story and if he had some ability to navigate the film. Tom Holland should be in charge from here on out of every Spider-Man movie there is, and he should. You just wait, Culture. If you're going to be negative, you're going to have a bad time tonight. You can listen. I'm not gonna. You can have whatever opinion. It's okay. Here, let me trigger Culture. Culture. This movie is so good that I will, from henceforth, until I am forced to change my mind, I will be kind and respectful of Zendaya and her Sour Patch face that she puts on in every movie, because that is Tom Holland's wife. And I don't know if she had any influence on this movie or not, but I bet she did. And because of that, I will be nice to Zendaya for as long as I possibly can. Marv.
No, I was going to say, you know who did have a say in this with Tom Holland was the fans. He actually looked at fan forums and Twitter, and he looked at all the things that people were saying they wanted. He looked at all the things that they really loved about the PlayStation game, the first one, the good one. And so, yeah, he put a lot of that into it. I am not going to follow you that far down the rabbit hole and say it's the greatest superhero movie ever made, but it is easily the best thing they've made since Endgame.
We'll debate it. We'll debate it in a little bit. Let me say what's in the movie, though, that without being, no spoilers, okay? This is a movie that wears a superhero genre skin. But here's what's in the movie. This is a movie that teaches a couple of morals. Moral number one is that no matter how good you are, you cannot carry the load by yourself, and you should not try to do so. That it is honorable to try, but that ultimately you need friends and loved ones to help carry the load. Moral number two that this film gives us, and this is a deep one, and the way they do this is deep. Moral number two out of this film is the idea that if you have a loved one who embeds in you kindness and love and morals and virtue, that those around you who are not so fortunate to have had someone like that, that you can share with them the memory of your loved one and what they mean to you as a way to spread that then to others. And it's like Mr. Rogers. The ethos of Mr. Rogers was embedded into Spider-Man. I felt like at times I was watching the morals of a Bluey episode, but in the coolest superhero film you just about ever seen. And then I'll give you one more thing about this Spider-Man film. One more thing that I said, I can't believe this is in Spider-Man. And I don't know if you guys caught this or not. I'm going to hand it over to you. There's a point in this film where Peter Parker is trying to stop himself from becoming something that he doesn't wish to be. And he's doing it through science. And in this segment, it is so blatantly clear, it is so obviously clear that one of the issues they're dealing with is the gender issue for young people today. Because what MJ, minor spoiler here, but you have to put it in here for people to understand. MJ says, from my side, it looks to me like you're just a guy going through changes. And she insinuates to him that he should embrace those changes and not try to stop them with science.
A nice guy.
Yes, a nice guy. You could not tell. There's no way they made that and didn't know that speaks to the idea of people trying to block the normal progress of their life, of their body, especially teenagers, and having MJ say, you shouldn't do that. It's really scary to change your body with science. You shouldn't do that. You're just a nice guy going through changes, and you should roll with that. That may be something that 90% of people don't realize what that's saying, but subconsciously it will. And I thought, I can't believe that's in a modern Marvel movie. I can't believe somebody got that in. I can't believe it. Okay, I've blathered enough. We'll talk about the score in a little bit, but first, panel, agree, disagree, and what did you think? Let's start for the sake of the hierarchy and the way that people read books and that kind of thing. Ron, you're at the top left. Therefore, you begin.
Okay. Well, I had the privilege of being able to see this not by myself, but in a full movie theater and with my family. Which was interesting because my son is 13 and I would say a couple years younger, and a lot of this movie I might have found objectionable to take him because the Punisher is in it. Okay.
Lots of language from the Punisher.
And let me tell you, the first thing that came on before the movie did not set a good tone for us because it was the Clayface trailer. And what an abomination that trailer is, especially to put it before a superhero movie when it's really more of a horror genre movie. Like my son is literally covering his face trying to, that was somewhat of a challenge. Because I'm like, oh boy, I hope this Spider-Man movie is not in the vein of this Clayface thing. But it started and it was good. After the movie, my wife she said she thinks maybe it was the best movie that she'd ever seen in her entire life. And I value her opinion greatly. My son absolutely loved it. Now wants to go back and watch other Spider-Man films. For my own opinion, I wasn't sure how they were going to incorporate the Punisher. You know what was interesting to me is one of the common criticisms of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 3 is the too many villains in the movie. And this movie has way more, technically speaking, way more villains than any of those. But also this movie doesn't really have a villain like one particular. It's really interesting. We'll get to the spoilers later, but it was just interesting to watch because what this was for Peter Parker, it was seeing Peter Parker in a way that I don't think we've seen Tom Holland's version of Peter Parker and Spider-Man like this before. Really, his world of the Avengers, his world of Tony Stark, his world of even his friends, of his everything has been stripped from him at the beginning of this movie. And for a superhero that you've literally seen battle aliens in outer space, taking everything from him and making him start over to go through that hero's journey again, you're wondering if it can be pulled off. And I thought they did a very, very good job of pulling it off. And it is what required the Punisher to be in this film. Like, that's what's crazy is I had no idea how it was going to work out. John Bernthal's Punisher, from what I had seen, I've watched all of his material in Netflix, and even the crappy stuff that's been on Disney Plus. and Bernthal knocked it out of the park as the Punisher in this movie in a way that you really, really want to see him, bring it on the screen. But also another thing, one of the things that a lot of people said last year, those people that loved the Superman movie last year really compared it to a comic book come to life. My problem with that was that I felt like it was more like the Super Friends television show from the 1970s, trying to adapt that to the screen, where they literally had a kaiju that grew, it was 3 feet tall, then it grew to like 300 feet tall overnight. That made no sense. There's a lot of things in that Superman movie that made no sense. But to me, this was very, very much like a comic book, almost more like a graphic novel come to life, because I would say that it probably told the story of several comic books that would have had to be put together over a series of time if you were actually reading comic books. But they did such a great job. They had so many different characters. They also did that amazing homage to the comic book covers, the Amazing Spider-Man, the Spider-Man covers that have been done over time. Daniel Cretton made sure that those got put in, and they did a spectacular job putting that in. And then my favorite personal, can I little spoily thing?
I have no idea because I don't know what you're going to say.
Okay, this is my favorite Easter egg.
Okay,
has to do with, and I won't even say what the Easter egg is, but I will say what it's an homage to. Was a couple things, but the biggest thing that it was an homage to was the failed first teaser trailer for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film.
Yeah, deep cut.
Which had to, it was a deep cut because that trailer had to be pulled. In spoiler territory, we'll go over that later, but I thought that was awesome.
Now, I'll say that one of the impressive things about this movie, of many, many, many impressive things, is that Tom Holland has learned a new trick. Marv, Tom Holland now is channeling Tobey Maguire. He is making facial expressions, and I don't know how he figured that out, but he's matching Tobey Maguire. I don't know if it's something they talked about when they've been working together now, but it's uncanny, and it takes this to another level. But Marv, so you said you don't know if this is the greatest superhero film of all time, and we'll rank it later. But Marv, how about this? Jean Grey is the greatest villain in modern Marvel movies.
No.
Who's better?
Thanos.
Thanos?
Yes, Thanos is one of the greatest movie villains of all time.
Oh, he's so
Like
boring.
not even just superhero movies, not even like, you know, I because Gene's not an actual villain. Like
you can't say that.
I know, but like you have to know that Jean Grey is not a villain in the Marvel universe.
Okay, Marv, walk us through your thoughts on the film.
Okay, so I think that this is the most Spider-Man a movie has felt since Spider-Man 2.
Is it the best Spider-Man film ever?
Wow, you didn't even let me get a sentence.
I got to know, is it because you said it's not the best superhero film? Is it the best Spider-Man film?
I don't know. It's definitely, yeah, I think maybe. I think it may be the best Spider-Man film. It is, it just, so I get why a lot of people did not like the Tom Holland movies up to this point. I like them, but I get why people don't, because he's not really being like the normal Spider-Man. He's being Tony Stark Jr. You know, he's got all this advanced, you know, stuff. He's going on trips to Europe. It's not very Spider-Man. In this, he's in the small apartment. He's by himself. It's street level crime. He's not really touching the broader MCU. He's not dealing with multiversal magic and stuff like that. This is a very grounded Spider-Man movie. It's the most street level Spider-Man movie we've ever had. And I actually really appreciated that. You know, this is also a Spider-Man movie where he is coming into his own, because, you know, the mutation that he's going through is presented as a bad thing, but it's all about accepting, you know, who you can be and what you can do, and you know, going forward from there. I was my biggest concern going into this was Mark Ruffalo was going to ruin this movie for me, and they're going to ruin The Punisher by putting him in a PG-13 movie. The Punisher was great. I mean, I thought John Bernthal was the exact same Punisher, just not making F-bombs. They finally did the thing that I've been begging them to do with the Punisher for years. I said, I want in the next thing for him to just be the Punisher, because in everything, whether it's Daredevil or his own show or his own like little mini movie on Disney Plus, every time we meet back up with him, he's got a big bushy beard and he's crying into a bottle of Wild Turkey about his family, and he's got PTSD, and he's not being the Punisher. Just let him go be the Punisher. And this one, he's got the battle van. We saw it in the trailer. And it was really cool to watch the Punisher brush up against the superpowered side of the Marvel universe. Like, I thought that was really, really interesting. And yeah, we finally hit the point where with these Spider-Man movies, I said back when they did Spider-Man 3, the Raimi movie, I was like, well, I feel like we're at the point now where this movie could open with him fighting a lesser supervillain. It could open with him fighting like the Shocker or something like that. And they never did it. But in this movie, like the Scorpion is the Scorpion, and you know, he's just the Scorpion. Like, we don't need to see how he got the suit. You know, the Hand, we already know who the Hand is from watching Daredevil season 2. I would have liked to have seen more Tombstone. He's a glorified cameo, but that he actually looked really cool. So there were some things that were I was just kind of like, oh man, they're skipping over a lot of stories that I would have liked to have seen, like him fighting Tombstone and him fighting the Hand. But on the whole, I mean, this was a movie with a lot of heart. It was a movie with a lot to say. Tom Holland carries the entire thing. I didn't even hate Zendaya in it. I thought that she was fine in this movie. I didn't think she was great. I mean, but he made me care about MJ as a character because of how much he cared about her. And I cared about Peter as a character so much that I didn't want to see harm come to MJ because of that. Ned's barely in it. So, you know, he if you don't like Ned, then this is a fine movie for you. But yeah, I thought as a whole, it was actually really, really good. I don't think I give it a 9. I think I'm gonna...
Whoa. Let's hold on the scores now. We'll get there.
I'm trying to think, like, it's hard to talk about the plot of this movie without getting into spoilers because so much of this was spoilery. I will say, I think that it was about 20 minutes too long. I think a lot of the emotional beats with Peter, with MJ and Ned, I would say that dragged the movie out way too much. I think 2 hours would have been a sweet spot for this. It was at one point where, like, toward the end of the movie where he's in the big climax, and I'm like, man, the Hulk stuff felt like it was a million years ago. I didn't mind that as much, but then like there were also like little like inconsistencies that bothered me. Like, you know, how is Down on His Luck always broke Peter Parker have this like, you know, crazy tech setup in his apartment? How is he making money to afford this? Like, like there's nothing of him like selling pictures to the Daily Bugle. And by the way, J. Jonah Jameson not being in this movie, I think was a miss. I think that was a misfire, because I think that Jameson, because the New York so is overwhelmingly pro Spider-Man, and that's not typically a thing that happens. You always need Jameson as that voice of dissent that kind of turns some of New York against him. And I think that would have made the third act actually hit more. When this was, I will say,
That's a good point.
New York is a character in this movie,
like Ghostbusters. It's kind of like at the end of Ghostbusters, where everybody's like, cheering on the Ghostbusters as they take on the
so New York is a character in this movie, and it should be in a Spider-Man movie. This was the most New York has factored into the Spider-Man story since the end of Spider-Man 1 with the, if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And, that came out in like 2002. So that was a very big time for that kind of sentiment in New York. So,
Marv, you said it was
enjoyed the movie.
You said it was a little long. I agree with you. But for me, the way I would have fixed that, Yelena is in this movie. That's the new Avengers girl. You don't need a single scene with her. She serves no purpose. I'm thinking that was like a Kevin Feige, you got to get her in kind of thing. Yeah. She's not needed at all.
No, yeah. The I didn't mention that because I thought it was spoilery, but
no, it's all right. But as long as we don't say why, but the movie doesn't need her.
Yeah, she pops up and it's completely useless. I didn't even recognize her at first, and the scene that she's in is actually kind of creepy.
Yep.
So
no need for her. Culture, the floor is yours, sir. Tell us your thoughts without spoiling anything for Spider-Man Brand New Day.
This is Gen Z's DEI, the movie.
Oh,
and I'm going to tell you right now, there are at least 7 superfluous, unnecessary characters that appear here for no other reason than they want to get the happy claps from Hollywood. So now to what I really think. I fully enjoyed this film. It was a good time. Look, with
you got every one of us. We all totally believed this, and we were all going to put on a face and suck it up and just sit here and think, "Oh no!"
Look. With great powder comes great snowboarding, and I'm going to tell you right now, this film was 100% a good time for most of it. And look, I'm going to say that my objections to this film were basically what I illustrated in absolute hyperbole. I felt like there were too many side quests. There was too many like jaunts off into nothingness. And the companion detective lady, why? Just
okay. You're right. She also serves no purpose. I'm with you there.
She should have been the cop from the video game, Yuri.
Right. Yeah, that would have been perfect. And I just have to say this, that the conversation about the Punisher, it can only be served by that gave us a buddy cop feel. It gave us that street level stuff you guys are talking about. And in the review video that anybody if you're a member, you can go watch the review now. But tomorrow morning, if you get a chance to see my review, I talk about the Netflix series and how this perfectly ties into that. It gives you that street level view, the Hell's Kitchen view of New Jersey, New York, and everything else, where these characters kind of were all like holding down the fort. And so, and look, I said something kind of sharp and witty in a chat that we all share, saying there was still too much Zendaya, but honestly, they toned her down, or she toned herself down, and
it wasn't as witty
worked.
as we thought it was.
Yeah, well, that's fine, but all I have to say is it worked out well. That you can genuinely see they have a solid relationship both on the screen and off the screen. And obviously it's nice to have chemistry with somebody you're working with, but there's a chemistry there. And there are moments in this film that genuinely pull your heart. And like, I'm listening to grown like men in their 20s behind me commenting on one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the film.
I listen to people weep in my theater. I was not expecting to go into a Spider-Man movie and hear people weep.
It was definitely worth the watch. It was worth the early go to the theater. It's going to be worth the price of seeing it on the biggest screen you can.
Yep.
And I don't normally say that. My rating is going to surprise people, and we'll get there when we get there. But Sadie Sink is great in this. I'm sorry.
Do you think Thanos is a better villain than Jean Grey?
I think there are 10 better villains than Jean Grey.
I think she's the best. Listen, the psycho thriller aspect of this is just what she does with some of Peter Parker's greatest insecurities is amazing.
Sure, unless you're Bob, who could literally black out the world with depression. I mean,
I'm not talking about like a power level. I'm talking about interesting. You know, like the different stuff going on with her is just so interesting.
Sure. Yeah.
They approached the character from a way that's never been approached before, and that was what I liked. We've had
Jean Grey, and I appreciated that too. And look, this is not a Jean Grey origin story. It's a new Jean Grey origin story. It also includes some stuff that doesn't exist in the comics, and Ron pointed that out earlier. So I'm looking at this, and I was creeped out a little bit by the Yelena part, and you can go and explore that for yourself. But like I said, if there weren't all this superfluous other stuff, this movie could have been exactly the right length. And I really do feel like they wasted one of the organizations that they were leading into in the Netflix series, and that they hinted at in other Marvel series with Damage Control, that I think they wasted. So this wasn't 100% a home run, but it was the best of Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies. Of the 4 films that he's been in for Spider-Man, this is the best of them.
Is there a better Spider-Man film, period?
Oh, of course, Tobey.
Which one?
1, 2, not 3.
Okay.
Look, when you look at this reminds me, and this is something I was talking about, because somebody asked me the other day, what's your favorite Spider-Man run? And I was like, the late 60s, early 70s. I had to go and collect those because, you know, I wasn't born then when they came out. I had to go and collect them in arrears. And I'm just going to tell you, that was Stan Lee, Ditko, and oh gosh, what's that other fella's name? Nice Spanish name. Oh, I always forget his name. Anyway, that particular run of books was amazing. The Amazing Spider-Man. And there were a few other runs that were equally good. But once we got to 2000, I felt like even Straczynski, I think that was his name, he tried to do a decent run but didn't. So, like I said, this felt the most Spider-Man for me that I've felt in a Marvel MCU film, and I felt like this one and the last one, No Way Home. You know, they're very good. Thank you, Ramita. Thank you. Somebody in the chat got it. So, but yeah, it's just it's one of those things where, for the first time in a long time, I smiled. I smiled in a movie, and I smiled more than a few times. In the movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, that doesn't happen very often. Like I think Super Mario Galaxy, I smiled in a movie.
When Rocky showed up and said "Amaze, amaze, amaze," I know you like that.
I smiled in a movie, but it's few and far between now, and it's something that I genuinely notice. And look, I was in a crowd. First of all, I'm at a really crazy early preview showing, very early in the day. Unlike Marv, who missed his showing, had to go to the next one.
My theater was packed.
But I was surprised. I was elbow to elbow with people in a theater where normally there'd be me or like 2 other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's wild.
Let's get to the review scores. Ron,
before you do that, bro, I just make one point.
Sure.
To all this is what this movie proves is that the MCU can still be great when you remove Disney from the equation.
Yes. Because Deadpool and Wolverine, Disney didn't have any, they had no say on that. That was approved by Bob Chapek, and it was handed to Sean Levy. That was his baby. It had nothing to do with Kevin Feige, completely separate from Marvel. Yeah. That succeeded. What else has succeeded? The Spider-Man stuff.
No Way Home. Yeah.
Spider-Man, not controlled by Disney, controlled by Sony.
It kicks in the teeth the narrative that we have superhero fatigue. And I'm going to keep saying it. We have bad movie fatigue. So make good movie.
And again, I'll say this before we give the review scores. If you saw The Odyssey and you gave The Odyssey a 10, you are stuck right now. Because you're going to have to say this is a 15. Because this is so much better than The Odyssey. It is unbelievable. Ron, review score 0 to 10. 0 is the worst film you've ever seen. Garbage Pail Kids. 10 is the greatest thing ever. We're talking about Citizen Kane, Godfather Part 2, etc. 5's average. Where is Spider-Man? Brand New Day for you, Ron.
First of all, I have to say that I would give this a little bit of a higher score if Morgan Freeman had been in it, reading a Spider-Man comic at the beginning, going, "Spider-Man, nobody knows who you are."
Nobody knows who you are.
But that's actually the truth.
That's a really old reference for those that started Spider-Man with the electric company like I did. There's a couple things holding me back from giving this a 10. I give it a 9. It's very, very far up there.
Yeah. All right. 9 out of 10. Marv?
When I first came out, I said 8 in my out of the theater review, or 8 or an 8.5. I think I'm going to stick with an 8.
Okay. Going with an 8. So we've got a 9 and an 8. Culture? What say you?
Oh, I said in my review, and I said walking out of the theater, this is an 8. This is a solid 8. I considered a higher score, but then I was like, there's some flaws. There are not many, but it was too long, and there are a few flaws. And other than that, it's Tom's best work, and I think at the same time it might be the best Marvel movie in a long time.
So I'm going to say it's the best Marvel movie, period. My review score, I'm going to put this on the screen because I'm going to own this, okay? Because I'm just going to own it. We'll see how this plays out with audiences, but I'm just going to own this score. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see it at the bottom, I'm giving this a 9.7 out of 10. I think this is a phenomenal movie. There are some things that are wrong with it. Elena should not be in the film at all. Take her out. Marv is right. I would have liked to see Jameson in the film. I think there's one point in the movie where MJ is a little too cruel in the script. But I'll say that this is a blast. I think it is an important film for this current moment in history. Spider-Man is truly a good person, top to bottom, and the morals that it's teaching kids, I dare say, are just about the most Judeo-Christian things I've seen in a Marvel movie. And
it's been good.
This film is fantastic, and I hope it makes every single dollar that it can. I hope it just dominates the box office for weeks and weeks and weeks. Please, I want these kinds of movies. 9.7 out of 10 from me. I dare say I think it's better than Godzilla -1. It is the highest score I have given on the Pro Show as of now. And there are movies that are better. If I were to go back in like the pantheon of movies that I've seen, I would give like Bridge of Spies a 10. Godfather Part 2 is obviously higher. I can think of movies that are better. But this was unexpected from me as a Spider-Man movie. I went into this not expecting to have such an important and great film put out there for us. 9.7 out of 10 is the score for me. You've heard the rest of the folks. There's nothing lower than an 8 here. What we're trying to tell you is, yes, you should see this film, and you should take your kids. And if you are bothered by profanity and you don't want your kids to hear profanity, and that's probably the right thing, cover their ears when the Punisher starts to move his mouth. And otherwise, take everybody you can to go see Spider-Man.